Hey guys, Rich Lopez with the Drop Time Traditions Podcast, episode 151. This episode will drop next week, New Year's week. I'm a week ahead of time because of my hunting schedule. Uh, but my guest tonight is Mr. Nick Wright from Texas. Nick, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, great. And yeah, it's recording. So before we continue, I want to acknowledge the supporters: Stickbow Country Custom Arrows, Traps Feather Rests, Traditional Bowhunter Magazine, Sauk Trail Archery, StickbowSupplies.com, Whiskey City Trad Gear or WCTrad.com, Jessie Savage Blacksmith.com, TraditionalJunk.com, St. Joe River Bow Company, TheEthicalPredator.com, and stickbowhuntsmx.com, who I'll be hunting with them at the end of February. Thank you all for your support for 2025. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys. And listeners, please subscribe and like and tell others, please. That helps me bring more content. So, Nick, before I realized I didn't hit the record button, what is your bio background, raised, etc.?
I was born and raised here in the Fort Worth area, actually just right on outside of the city of Fort Worth in a town called Richland Hills. I lived here all my life until I graduated high school and went into the Marine Corps for some time. And then, after the Marine Corps, I came back here and been here ever since. So this is home for me.
Thank you for your service. Uh,
Yeah, thank you.
Now, you mentioned to me, we spoke earlier on the phone, but you were introduced into archery through your family.
Yes, sir. My grandfather years ago got into competition archery, and in that circle, was invited to go hunting. And he kind of started hunting for our family long before, my dad, obviously myself, was on the scene. So I have never not known archery hunting and just deer hunting with, rifle hunting, all things whitetail hunting has always been in my life. I don't remember a time in my life it wasn't. And in fact, my mom and dad had me very young, and it was easier, for my dad to be able to go hunt. My grandfather would, man, they tell stories of him taking me to the deer lease when I was in diapers, just so my dad could go hunt and continue the tradition. And they tell stories about my grandfather, would had a diaper bag and me in deer camp, and just so my dad could go hunt, so it's just been in my life since before I was really able to get around on my own.
Yeah, it's in your blood. It's in your blood.
Yes, sir.
So, social media, that's how I think you and I became acquainted on the traditional
Yes.
archery pages. And are you on any other platforms besides Facebook?
I am on Instagram. Yeah,
Under
as of now, I'm just on Facebook and Instagram.
what's your handle on Instagram?
Nick Wright 0321.
Okay, that's pretty easy. So, I see your family now hunts. Your wife hunts, and I think do any of the kids hunt?
Yeah. Actually, all three of my kids hunt. I have three kids. I have two older boys, and my baby is a girl. My oldest son's name is Hunter. My middle son is Fisher, and my daughter is Trinity. And they all hunt. Their hunting journey's a little bit different than mine. My oldest son is primarily a duck hunter. He has killed some good deer at a young age. He's very lucky in the woods.
Hmm.
He likes to bird hunt. He likes to pig hunt. My son Fisher is more of the bow hunter of the three. And my daughter, she's 13. She's an absolute savage, man. She's a grinder,
Yep.
and she does real well when she goes and hunts. But yeah, my wife hunts as well. She actually this year put down an absolute hammer of a mule deer
I
on
saw
our
that.
property up in the Panhandle. So
Yeah, I saw
um,
that.
yeah,
That's a
she
whopper.
she does. Yeah,
Congratulations to
yeah, it was.
congratulations to Mrs. Wright. And
Yeah,
that was a hammer. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that. And like I said when we spoke earlier, I do my due diligence to research my people. And I got a bunch of pictures. So when I do the promo, I'm going to throw her picture in there. So,
Yeah.
and that's cool. So now you mentioned earlier about being a former Marine. Again, thank you for your service. What was that experience like? Because I noticed you sent me a photo when you just come out of Special Forces training. Were you Force Recon?
I was first force reconnaissance. Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us, what was that like? It had to be grueling
Yeah. I mean, man,
because you got
it's
basic. You got it through basic, and then you got that.
yeah. So, when you go into the Marine Corps, traditionally, not much has changed in the Marine Corps over decades. Very, very few things. I as a young man, um, kind of lost in my ways as a teenager. Had actually dropped out of high school, believe it or not, my senior year, and didn't have a whole lot of direction. Um, you know, and you and I talked about this a little bit for whatever it's worth to everybody else. Uh, you know, I, I come to accept Christ at a young age and just turn my life around. And I'm glad I did because I mean, it was like literally overnight. And I went back to the public high school the following year, wanting to graduate, move forward with my life and do something. And I was such an atrocious young man that they just were not going to allow me to come back into the school. They were not having it. And I had to pretty much beg them. And they let me back in under some certain conditions. I did real well my senior year. Some of the teachers that I'd burned out, I'd actually won them over and had become one of their favorite students. And in fact,
Good.
four of them came to my wedding when I got married
That's
uh,
awesome.
a few years later. So, um, but I went into the Marine Corps. I mean, literally 2 days after I walked across the stage and graduated. Uh, I really kind of wanted to do that a big part of my teenage life. And realistically, at one point, that's what I thought I was going to do with the rest of my life. I went in with the intentions of trying to go into force recon, and after I got in and learned what it took to become one, I had to do a couple of years in the infantry. So I was with Second Battalion, Fifth Marines, and I had short story. I cross trained to volunteered to be a machine gunner, cross trained to be a machine gunner, loved everything machine guns. I'm a machine gunner at heart. My trade is I'm a HVAC guy. I own a Texas Air Pro. I'm a mechanical guy, so I love machine guns. But I always had a desire to go over and try out and get selected to be in a recon team. And my wife was almost 5 months pregnant when I took selection.
Wow.
Selection was tough. I think there was maybe 16, 18 guys that took it at the time I did. I think four of us actually finished it. Two of us got selected.
Wow.
And yeah, and then, but that selection at that time, things have changed a lot. There's no force recon anymore. It's now MARSOC. And I was there at the time of the transition from force recon going away to MARSOC. The Marine Corps still has recon on the battalion level, but the force reconnaissance has now become what you know as MARSOC. So,
And
uh,
what was the reasoning behind that change?
this is an interesting topic. At the time, the only difference between a first force reconnaissance team and some other special operations teams is force recon just wasn't SOCOM funded at the time.
Right.
And if you look up any history on them, you know, they do all the above. They have selection. We go through BRC. It's on Coronado Spec Warfare Center where
Okay.
Buds is. We go through the whole thing: jump, dive, sear. We have free fall teams. We do the whole gamut. We just were not SOCOM funded at the time, and as you know, through the last 20 years of being over in the sandbox, they had come in and did a trial run with a SOCOM team with some Force Recon guys, and then it grew from there. And as the whole, what's now called MARSOC, which means Marine Special Operations Command, grew, there was no longer a need for force recon because
Gotcha.
it was MARSOC now. So,
Okay.
um,
How did
but
you
yeah,
did
it was tough. It was very hard on my marriage. We were young, and my wife was pregnant. You know, my son was born, and 2 days later, I was in Coronado Island in the surf zone, freezing to death. You know, so I was gone a lot. You know, she had to move back here to Texas. I deployed with my team, and my marriage was very, very strained. And you know, I had made a decision um, to get out. At that time, my marriage didn't look like it was going to make it, and at that time, as a young man, career driven, what I wanted to do with my life, I was okay with that. And had another one of those come to Jesus moments, you know, driving back out, getting ready to deploy. And I went ahead and extended my contract so I could deploy with my team. I wanted to deploy, but decided to get out, you know, barring I made it back from my deployment. And I
right.
did, obviously. So, you know, once I got back, I stuck to that. I came back here to Fort Worth, and me and my wife, you know, was able to
Worked it
work
out.
some things out after
Yeah.
I came through some issues of my own after deployment, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And you know, we started a business and had two more kids, and you know, we've just everything's been great ever
Does
since.
she help you out in the day by day in the business part?
She does. She does. And she bears a lot of weight, just in general, because, you know, we got a business, we're a
And a
smaller
family.
company
Right.
and a family, and we're an active family. And it just, it's nonstop over here in this household. I mean, we're a go, go, go family. So she has a lot of hats she wears.
Good.
And so,
What's
but yeah,
what's what is Mrs. Wright's first name?
Carrie.
Carrie. Hello.
Yeah.
Merry
She
Christmas,
is.
young lady.
Yeah, she's actually in the other room getting ready for the all the events that are about to happen over the next couple of
Oh
days.
yeah,
So,
yes. We're getting prepped too. Even though we're not going anywhere, we're planning Christmas Day. Our kids, 5 kids and the 9 grandkids, they've all got alternative families. You know, the other side that they got to
oh
deal with.
yeah,
So they're doing all that. We're going to the movies and getting Chinese food. That's it. That's
man,
Chris. That's Christmas Day for us.
sounds like a good one though.
Yeah, yeah. I'm done with turkey, man. I don't want to see another turkey till next year because we had turkey at our house this year. That sucker was 28 pounds, man. And I still have frozen. I had sliced it up and I said, honey, this is way too much turkey. I can only eat so much turkey. So I got meat stored away. So we're good for that. And then New Year's, that's amateur night. We stay home and watch movies. So,
Yeah, that's what we do as well. We
yeah,
don't get out much on those evenings, so
yeah. I don't want to be out. Tell you the truth,
no,
I'm
no.
like a risk management guy, so I'm always like, I have a 80% chance of dying, so I'm staying home. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Those days are behind us. You know, in
yeah,
fact, you probably remember this. I cringe at the thought of my kids being out and about. So,
yeah. It just
I
kind of
just
raised them. I mean, like my kids, they were crazy. They were hellions, man. And my youngest is 35, 36, and my oldest is going to be 46. So I mean, they've all got families now. They've got responsibilities. They've got very serious jobs. So they don't go anywhere. If they do, they
yeah,
walk to their neighbor's house.
yeah,
That they're very close knit. We're just the OGs here. So, people in my neighborhood, my next door neighbor, nice guy, but again, younger. I don't have a lot in common with many young people, except you and other bow hunters. So, um, so you've always been a Texas boy. What's bow hunting like in Texas? Because I've always wanted to go there. Because I do hunt in Mexico, and I can't see how that would be much different.
it actually, believe it or not, it actually is different in some ways. You know, Mexico's a great place to go kill a big deer. Um, Texas, Texas has a unique culture of hunting.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I'm speaking from the wearing the shoes as a bow hunter. Um, we got a strong hunting culture here,
Oh yeah.
but as you know, Texas, man, we're all about our guns, man, and I'm all for that as well.
Yep.
Our deer season, I would say the drawbacks to hunting Texas is most of the land here is privately owned. We
Right.
don't have a lot of public land here for people to come and hunt. What public land we do have is not high on the list for killing quality deer. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm always very, very impressed when somebody drags a good buck off of our public land with a bow.
Hmm.
Typically, that's the guy I want to talk to. I want to hear the story. And we do have deer on our public land, but our problem here in Texas is we have a 2 month long rifle season,
Yeah.
and our deer just get pounded here. And so you to kill quality, what I would consider quality deer here as a bow hunter, or even with a rifle, it just depends on the area that you hunt.
Hmm.
We do grow big deer here, but it's typically in areas where leasers and ranchers and everybody in the surrounding areas are trying to be on the same page as much as possible and let deer walk. But networking is the game here to be access. It A lot of times the game here is just access. We it now, and that's kind of deer hunting in a nutshell. Um, I do bow hunt a lot here in Texas. We hunt primarily up in the base of the Panhandle. We have a few small farms that we hunt there and have for years. And they got a whitetail mule deer mix. As you can see, my wife shot a
Hmm.
really good one a couple weeks ago. I killed a decent one last year with my recurve. But we uh we got a lot of hogs here. There's a lot of stuff to kill here.
Yeah.
We got predators. I mean, you can kill predators 24/7 here. Same thing with the pigs. We don't have seasons on any of that. Um, you know, you can kill 3 bucks here in the state of Texas. They just have to be in different counties.
Hmm.
Some counties have antler restrictions. There's a lot of hunting here to be had, but it is a state that you can feed. A lot of the southern states are, and that's another one too. Some of these ranches that you hunt on here in private land, if they got a good feeding program for their deer and they're managing well, it's really hard to compete with that. And
Yeah.
I know as you move up north, that kind of gets frowned on a little bit. But man, if you're not feeding here, you've got to have something to draw these deer in on small
Yeah.
properties. I mean, it's just tough. So
Yeah. I
it's
got a
got its
friend.
own challenges.
I have a friend that owns a ranch in Texas, and he says these segundos, these sindoors, whatever they're called,
Yeah.
we take the four-wheel and just spread out corn all in
Yep.
front of the
Yep.
stand, and that just brings them in.
Yep. Yep.
That's just common sense practice there in Texas. And
Yep.
he does has antler restrictions on his ranch. Uh,
Yeah.
nothing under 150.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I'm assuming when you use the word Sinduro, it sounds like a South Texas ranch.
it is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandfather took me there a couple of times when I was a little kid, and that's the game they hunt down there. And man, there's big deer down there, and it's a
Yeah.
it's a fun way to hunt. It's definitely, but you know, I like to hunt all things whitetail, but man, feeder hunting on small properties down here in Texas has a lot of challenges to it. I think a lot of people that have never been down here, um, I think the idea, it's kind of like somebody's job, when you look at somebody else's job and just assume it's an easy thing to do.
Mhm.
I see a lot of challenges with hunting over bait here in Texas. It doesn't work as well during the rut. It's kind of a late season thing, but here late season, by the time these deer start coming back to feed, they're pretty busted up.
Right.
It's definitely got its challenges, but it's definitely a technique, and it can be fun. It's great for kids, getting kids around it. you know, getting kids into some action, even if you're very management minded, they get to watch a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Can create some target rich environments. You know, but yeah, it's yeah, those Senduros. That's how they do it down there. If you ever make it down there, you'll have a lot of fun with it.
I had won a hunt in South Texas at a ranch for pigs in Javelina. I didn't wind up going on the hunt for some unforeseen reason, but at any rate, the guy that took my place reported back to me that he's he's walking through the desert with his bow. You know, they're still hunting these pigs, but his guide is with him carrying an AR. I'm like, what's the AR for? He goes, it was border crossers. You know,
Yeah,
every once in a
yeah,
while you come across a few, and you gotta make sure you let them know that you mean business, and they just keep going the other way.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
That was
that's
an
cool.
experience. That was an experience I had had when I was younger. My grandfather had some friends that had a ranch down south, I think near the Laredo area,
Okay.
and that was a very commonly mentioned thing. You know, the encounters and stuff. We didn't encounter anything, but
Right.
it was something that they constantly had to keep an
Yeah,
eye
you have to
out.
be aware of your surroundings for sure.
Yeah,
I flew into Dallas Fort Worth last year for the first time. Now I thought O'Hare was big, okay, in Chicago. Oh my
yeah,
God. What? And I only had like 35 minutes to get off the flight, get on the train, and get to my gate, which was like 2, 3 miles away. That's how, you know, I'm like, oh my God. I was like OJ Simpson running through the airport with a
yeah,
backpack on, you know, trying to make this flight. And I did make it, thank God. They were just about to close the door. And
yeah.
I'm going back again. Now I know what to do. But I chose a layover, gave me an hour and 40 minutes. So I'm right on.
Yeah, yeah. DFW airport can be quite a bit of a mess, man. You know, it's in the concern when you got to go that far to get on a connecting flight is did they get all your luggage to that plane as well?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
And I'm sitting in Mexico now. You know, all the federales are around me. You know, they basically got us into customs. And I'm looking out the window and I see I had a hard case golf bag. It's a SKB. And it was
yeah.
perfect because I partitioned it, clothing on one side, weapons on the other. And I watched them and I was like, okay, it made it. So we get there, they opened it up. You know, like they had never seen a recurve bow before. They were like, "What are you doing here?" I told them in Spanish. I'm bilingual. Yeah, I'm here to shoot javelinas, pigs, and deer. Guy looks at me, and all of a sudden their cameras come out. The customs guys. They're taking pictures of my equipment and then texting them to their buddies who hunt with rifles. And you're like, you
Yeah,
won't believe this guy. You know, so it's pretty cool. I was like a
yeah,
little. I was like an American celebrity
yeah,
for a brief moment.
yeah. And it probably too. They probably down downshifted the intensity as to what was going on when they saw what you was doing and who you
They
was.
thought I was crazy. They were like, "Well, good luck." And next thing you know, sending this meat back, and they're like, "Oh, wow," you know. So, did you know Pope and Young opened up a category for javelina this year?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they do. So, if you shoot a
Huh.
nice big javelina, you want to enter it. There you go. So, on that hunt I was on, my buddy Jerry Oliver shot this monster javelina. The thing attacked him 5 times. He literally emptied his quiver into this sucker. Well, it's the world record now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
so I told him, I said,
Was it in Texas?
no, Mexico.
Mexico.
So
Okay.
I told him, I said, all right, buddy, I'm going after your record because I know there's a big one out there that I wanted it, wouldn't come in close for a shot. It was very smart.
Man, my very first archery kill was a javelina in South Texas.
Mhm.
They used to do something they called the Texas Shootout every February here when
I,
I was
I've
growing
heard
up.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, and it's on the famous Callahan Ranch,
Okay,
and it was a javelina hunt, javelina and pig hunt, and we used to do it pretty regularly. You know, it lasts a few days. It's a lot of fun. You corn these roads, you sneak up on them on foot, and get a shot. But my first archery kill was one of those javelinas on that hunt when I was 16, and my dad had it mounted for me. It's in my living room right now,
cool.
and man, that was quite an experience. I had snuck up on these things and my dad was hunting a Senduro or two over. And back then we didn't have cell phones or anything.
Hmm.
And I'd snuck up in this group, and I had lost them when I got up into uh, the group of them. Well, I somehow snuck my way into the middle of them, and I shot the one. And man, when they scurried around and started growling and chomping around, man, I thought I had created a mess for myself at that time.
Sure. Yeah, they're
You
they're
know,
nasty customers. Um,
yeah,
Thank God they're kind of blind. Um,
yes,
they will see movement and they will focus on that movement. So if you shoot one, stand still. Don't move.
yeah, oh
Um,
yeah,
their sense of smell is incredible. The
yeah,
hearing, they can hear, but a lot of things don't bother them too much. They're concerned with food because I'm hunting
yeah,
over a feeder, which is normal there. And
yeah,
the blind I was in had a like a metal floor. So from the heat pounding the unit, since it was aluminum outside,
yeah,
it caused the floor to like what I call oil can.
yeah.
So you make one wrong move, you hear this boing, boing. So I was like, oh crap. So what I did is I just moved my chair to the center of the window and just waited for I did not move 1 inch. And then I could lean into my shot through the window and then kill one. But yeah, those javelinas are fun.
They're fun to hunt, man.
Yeah.
Them and pigs here in Texas, they're fun. If you just want to get some stick time and get some reps in, and and especially with the abundance of hogs we have here, I mean, pigs are really good to eat, and you can really kill some really big pigs here in Texas, man. Especially somebody with a recurve. If you just want to get some reps in,
Oh,
I
sure.
mean, we've got all the pigs you can stand down here.
Now, living in a dry environment, I know here in Florida, I've killed a few pigs and they're filthy bastards.
Yeah,
They're full of bugs, mites
yeah,
and
yeah.
and and ticks. You guys got the same problem, even though
They
it's dry
yeah,
there?
we do. The areas that I hunt can be pretty dry usually, and the pigs here. I got a buddy of mine, my jujitsu coach actually. This is his first year bow hunting, and we took him out to our property, and man, he shot a really good sized pig, and man, he's excited, he's gung ho, and he's like, man, can I put it around my neck and carry it back to
No,
truck? I'm like, man, you don't want to do that with these, man. You're going to end up getting a pretty gnarly skin rash. I know that makes a cool picture,
but
but
right.
with these, you're going to end up with a skin problem
Yeah. So when
for
I
sure.
shot mine, I was actually on a guy private property. The guy that skinned it for me, the ranch hand, he says before I skin it, watch. He points out that it was like the skin was crawling with stuff. So what he did
Yeah,
is he power washed the pig, power washed
yeah,
it to get all the junk off of it, and then he skinned it. And he says,
yeah,
yeah, he says you're going to take home clean meat, and there's not going to be junk on it, none of that. And he was right. We just corded it up and stuck it in my cooler, and it's only 3 miles from my house. So I was like, yeah,
yeah,
okay. I took it in, and
yeah.
I just butchered it in the kitchen.
Yeah, man, and it's one thing. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but when we get people to come and hunt with us and they hadn't been around pigs and stuff, everybody's excited to shoot one because they always make a really neat looking picture, especially if you kill a big one. But they're very reluctant to want to eat it because of the way it looks. They're like, man,
Right.
how can something that looks like that produce
Taste.
good
Oh
meat?
my God, it's great meat.
Oh man, I mean, I've got people that almost prefer it over deer meat,
Yeah.
and it's really good meat. I got a buddy that I was in reconnaissance with. He comes out here once or twice a year, and he would almost prefer to take home pig meat than the deer meat. And of course, they're just after season, they're just fun to hunt. You
Yeah.
hunt them here at nighttime usually, and that just kind of adds to the excitement, especially if
Sure.
you're on foot with a traditional bow. You're on foot sneaking up on them. It gets a little exciting.
Yeah. So what's funny is after I shot my pig last year, yeah, I cut the back straps out immediately, and then I put them in the fridge, marinated them in Italian dressing, and
Yeah,
for about 2 3 days, and then I put them on the grill. Oh my God! It's just like I could
yeah,
cut the meat with my fork because it was only
yeah,
100 pound sow. I mean, everybody here in Florida, do not shoot anything over 100 pounds. and make sure it's a
Yeah.
sow. Boars are gross, but
Yeah.
they do need to be taken. But I'm
Yeah.
not after any records or anything. I want to eat food. So,
Yeah. We
so
have a processor here that, um, when we're doing basic cuts, we will quarter up, skin and quarter our own stuff. But if I want
mhm.
some special things made, I take it to our processor here, and a lot of times we'll have a lot of tamales made out of these pigs, and they're some of my favorite thing to eat
Oh yeah,
is those tamales. Yeah, they're
yeah.
they're great, and they're. I encourage anybody that's never been around it, don't let the looks of it run you
No.
off. It's, they're great to eat.
So when we were in Mexico, the guy goes, "What do you want to do with your pig?" I said, "I want to eat it." He goes,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, let me talk to the ladies in the kitchen." And they're like, "Yeah, just give us the meat and we'll take care of the rest." So that evening we had tamales, enchiladas, all fresh javelina meat.
Yeah.
My God. And then they broke out the hot stuff. I love hot food. So they brought
Yeah.
out sriracha. I was like, oh man. Yeah. It was just my mouth is watering thinking about it and anticipating it coming into this new year. So you mentioned martial arts earlier, and we spoke earlier on the phone. So Brazilian Ju Jitsu is your thing, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of my many passions. It's up there at the top of my list with my hunting and fishing.
Mhm.
Uh, I got introduced to that 10 years ago. We originally put my two sons in it, and man, I kind of got sucked into that at the school we was training at the time, and I really didn't have an interest in it. I was putting my kids in it for self defense, and um, not to come across arrogant or anything, but um, my kids are smaller, and it was more to anti bullying type thing.
Sure.
And my kids are training about a week, and I sneak in there one afternoon or one evening after work, and the school instructor had come up to me and was like, "Oh man, try a class." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm okay. I don't need all this. I'm good. I feel like I can defend myself just fine." And man, he ended up talking me into doing a trial class. And man, I tell this brief story. How I got sucked into it was, I my buddy that comes and hunts with me that I was in reconnaissance teams with. He is a high level black belt out in San Diego, California, and his suggestion was to put the kids in jujitsu. Man, I show up this class this night, and man, I get paired up with this young man that probably didn't weigh 125 pounds, and I'm stereotyping him to paint a picture. He probably didn't weigh 125 pounds, very, very young 20s. He wore these really thick glasses. I mean, I'm trying to stereotype to
Right,
paint the picture.
like a Poindexter.
Yeah, Poindexter kind of looking dude,
Yeah.
and not very athletic looking. And we pair up and we're do these techniques the instructor showed. And toward the end of the class, we did this specific training type stuff. And basically, it's where I try to implement the technique on him, and he tries everything he can to resist it for 90 seconds,
Okay.
and then we flip flop. Then it's his turn to try to implement it, and I'm just supposed to try to stop it. It's not a full blown grappling session, but we're going against each other now. And man, when I'm like, "Hey, what are we doing right now?" And he said, "Yeah," he kind of explained what I just did. And man, I looked at him, and I thought I was a pretty humble guy, but I looked at him and I thought, "Yeah, right, man." Like I started looking around the room, and I'm like, man, I looked at a bigger guy. I'm like, man, I need to be with that guy over there. Like, man, this is unfair. Man, this young man had been training jujitsu for about 9 months,
Hmm.
and I mean, he just absolutely mopped the mat with me, man, and both times. And I actually went home pretty disappointed in myself. Like, man, I just we grappled
But
around a lot in the
there's a flip
military.
side, man. There's a flip side to this. There's meaning behind that.
Yeah, and man, the instructor knew what he was doing, And after I kind of spent a couple hours kind of kicking rocks around the house, it hit me. I'm like, man, I went back the next couple days later. He showed back up to class, and I said, hey man, I got a question for you. Did you do any of this before? Did you wrestle? Were you in sport? Man, he never did any sports, never did any martial arts. This is his first combative thing he'd ever done.
Wow.
And he was only training a couple of 2, 3 times a week. But when he would come, he would try to learn. He would ask questions. He would apply it. And he'd only been training like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 months, something like that. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, if this guy can learn that in 9 months, he's only training a couple of days a week. I'm the kind of guy that goes all in on everything. What can I? And man, I was a believer, and I was hooked, and I've been
Mhm.
training. I train as much as I can every week, and here we are, 10 years later. I competed all through all the belts, did fairly well on a master's level. I podiumed at brown belt worlds last year for the first time, and got promoted to black belt toward the end of last year. So it's something that my all my kids do. It's something we do as a family. All my kids wrestle as well. We're a grappling family.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
wrestled in high
yeah,
school.
yeah, I wished I would have. Being the jujitsu guy that I am now, I wished I would had wrestled throughout high school. But it just wasn't on the radar, man. They didn't make a big deal about it when I was a young man.
Yeah,
So,
that was a big deal in my high school. I grew up in New Jersey, so you had to learn how to defend yourself anyway.
yeah,
So let me ask you this: Is jujitsu a thing for anybody 65 and older? Can it be?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu was designed, Brazilian jiu-jitsu in particular, was designed for the I tell people all the time, it was designed for the less capable to be an equalizer against the more able.
Gotcha.
So, if you go back and look at the history of Elio Gracie, man, he was a very small, frail guy. And all of the techniques were modified. Jiu-jitsu did not come from Brazil, but it was modified drastically in Brazil and has become what we know it to be today, that is, widely used in mixed
Oh
martial
yeah,
arts.
yeah, yeah. My
So,
son's into it big time. He loves Muay Thai, and so he's always educating me when it comes to that
yeah,
stuff. That's excellent. And actually, you trained today for about an hour
I
and a half.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I did train today. So,
So let's go back to hunting. So you mentioned firearms. You're a two-season hunter, I take it.
yeah, I mean, I don't, man, I have not rifle hunted in many, many, many years. Have nothing against, love it. It's in my background. It's what we primarily did when I was growing up. Our Texas archery season is the month of October. Ideally, open rifle is somewhere around the last weekend of October to the first weekend in November, traditionally, and it runs all the way through the first weekend in January.
Hmm.
And so, when as a kid growing up, we would bow hunt in October, but the second that opening weekend of rifle, we all rifle hunted.
Sure.
And it wasn't till later in my teenage years, my dad um, got on a big bow hunting kick, and when rifle season came around, he continued to hunt with his bow,
Hmm.
and and then later in life for me, that kind of followed as well. And now, man, man, even when rifle season opens up, I just continue to walk out into the woods with my recurve. It's just
Yep.
what I just enjoy doing it. It's what I want to kill them with. My kids rifle hunt. My wife rifle hunts. Um, you know, I love it. I love setting up for it. And to be honest, when I'm not in a tree, man, I love nothing more than crawling into a deer blind with somebody that is rifle hunting, because now I can see a large area. I get to watch more deer. I get to
Right.
watch them get excited and shoot stuff, and I enjoy that. Um, but for my personal hunting, man, I mean, I'm a traditional bow hunter from start to finish the season year round. So,
So what's your favorite setup for bow hunting?
Uh, are we speaking in terms of the actual bow or
Yeah,
just
the
the way I like
bow,
to set up and hunt?
bow, the arrows, the broadheads.
Man, I'm kind of a hodgepodge guy to be honest. Like I don't uh have any high dollar setups. Not that I don't want them. But my actually, man, if you look behind me, the wooden bow that's up there, I had that bow made for me many years ago by a gentleman of the name of Tommy Horn. He's not a real well known bowyer, but he did make some bows for me and some of the guys at the shop. I know him personally, so that was kind of special.
Mhm.
I got to pick out the wood and the way I wanted it built, designed the grip and everything, and the way I wanted it made. And he made that bow for me. And man, yeah, put it through the ringer. I didn't take care of it real well. I hunted real hard with it. I crawled
Mhm.
through a lot of brush. I kind of was very unkind to it, but I got 13 kills with that bow. And like I said, I killed that buck right there on public land with that bow. Um, I killed I killed this buck with that bow. Um, I've got another 10 point that unfortunately got lost at the processor. But I've
Mm.
got pictures of it. But I killed another 10 point on public land with that bow. That bow was real good to me. But it's pretty weathered and delaminated, and I did not want it to break, so I retired it. And I now hunt with I've got a DOS Llama, a DOS Dala
So it's an ILF
riser.
ILF rig.
Yeah, ILF rig, and I told you before I shot competition archery for years, and I got some limbs on that thing that are probably 12 years old, man. And I like that older stuff. I like that used stuff. Um, you know, I like bows that are old. Name brand bows are cool.
Right.
But I like the stuff that's old and those garage sale specials, man. I really like.
So the pictures I downloaded of you for you, because I'm gonna put them on probably Saturday or Sunday to promote the podcast coming up. Because, like I said, I'm a week ahead of time. I see the bows. You have some that are camo painted, and you have recurve, and you like a reflex deflex longbow.
Yes, sir. Yeah, those are
What do
my
you what?
preference when I hunt.
Okay, okay. I was just gonna ask you, what do you like better, ILF or the longbow?
Man, uh, across the board, I just think the old wooden stick in a string, man, is just cool. I just like the way it looks in pictures and
Mhm.
the old school look of it. Um, my only downfall with those setups is there's less you can tune on them. You can tune some things, string, brace height, string twist,
Mhm.
arrows, changer knocks, all those things like that. And but I just have not found the person I want to make my next setup. I would like to have another one made. And so I bought that DOS riser late last season, I think, and right before season began, and I threw some limbs on it. And the painted bows, those are all things I got that were not painted. If you deal with any '03 Marine, '03s at combative field, we are we are Crayola can junkies, man. We got to spray paint
Yeah.
everything we
Oh yeah,
got,
brother. My hunting bow. Oh, it looks like it got run over by a Toyota and then spray painted. It's got, if it could talk, forget about it. It would just, it is,
I love that.
it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I love that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And my bows are painted by myself, and I just cannot stand a piece of gear that ain't got some spray paint across it, man. I
I
don't know
have
what it is.
camouflage underwear. So, camo
Yeah.
is where I'm at. My wife looks at me. She looked at my closet today. She goes, "You have 24 camo pullover shirts." I said, "Well,
Yeah.
that's just for the podcast." She goes, "No, you wear them all the time." I said, "Well, maybe." It's just one of those things. So she knows anything she buys me has got to be camo.
Yeah.
And
It,
I prefer desert camo.
yeah. And I'm a, a lot of people ask me all the time what my favorite camos are. And I like camouflage because traditionally, especially in the South, it's, a lot of your hunters wear it. There's a lot of people here that don't hunt that wear camouflage. I mean,
All right.
it's the South.
Yeah.
And, but the old school camouflage is my favorite, probably just because it's what everybody wore when I was a little kid.
Well,
You know,
did you see on social media that mossy oak has reintroduced autumn oak?
oh man, see, that's cool, man.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite camo pattern of all time. So I'm all over
Yeah.
that stuff. T-shirts, whatever.
Mossy oak, tree bark,
Yep.
and you probably saw social media. My grandfather's hat um, that I wore for many years. The old Drake duck camo pattern is
Mhm.
my personal favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah. Columbia outerwear used to use that pattern a
Yeah,
lot in their
yeah,
waterfowl stuff.
yeah. I love that pattern, and mainly just because it's old, and that's what they wore a lot when I was a
Yep.
kid. It's more, that's the only reason. I don't necessarily know that it's the best camo pattern in the woods, but it's
Mhm.
it's my favorite for that reason.
So do you remember as a young guy growing up going into a hunting store?
Oh yeah,
Not there's many around anymore. Anyway, last weekend I was up in Maryland hunting with my buddy. So we took a day, just take a break, and we went into Pennsylvania. And we came up to this hunting store. It was like literally they had bows, guns, arrows. I mean, everything. You walk in there, there's heads all around. It's like being back in
yeah,
time. This was like
yes,
it took me back to 1980. And I look
yeah,
at the rack of the clothing, and there's this hoodie, but it's got that camo pattern on it, and it's a Browning hoodie. And I'm like,
yeah,
I looked at the price, like 39.95. Man, I snatched that sucker up. You know,
yeah. Yeah, those are the days I miss, man. And speaking of camo pattern and the big buck killer herself, I ordered a hat that replicated my grandfather's hat. She literally just brought it in here to me just now.
beautiful.
So it's
Hi, Mrs.
it
Wright.
yeah. Hi. It's Rich Lopez. And but yeah, man, I miss those days. A lot of my hunting that I try to replicate nowadays, uh, I try to bring that back. I've tried to
Mhm.
bring it back and give my kids the same experience that I had. And though they have had great experiences, I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like it's really hard to bring that back. I just hunting has changed so much over the years,
Yeah,
and not that it's not good, it's just different.
I think what it is, I think a lot of the younger people don't know the history of a lot of stuff, and that's going away, which is bad. That's why I'm doing this because I want young people to watch this or at least listen to it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
don't have to watch it because a lot of people have like zero attention span. So,
yeah,
like myself, when I first started hunting, I wore my dad's camouflage from the U.S. Army from 1950,
yep,
which was basic camo, just green and brown,
yeah,
and it's just whatever. But that and shoe polish instead of face paint. They had face paint, but I went with shoe polish, and it took me
yep,
hours to get it off. But
yep,
I had fun doing that. Even and then at the time, my lunch pail was an old GI Joe metal. That lunch pail today is worth thousands if it was not covered in spray paint by me because I
yep.
camo painted it. Had my thermos, sandwich, and an apple. I mean, that was what I took into the woods with me. Crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's I talk to guys like yourself, and it's nice to not be the only guy that feels that way. And it's not that hunting hasn't changed for good in some areas, but there are definitely some areas it's changed for the worse. That's a shame to see. But but and again, I try to be real careful about. I went through a phase where I kind of felt like, oh, the good old days, and if you're not careful with that, you'll realize we're still in some good old days now. They just won't be good old days till they're gone. And
Exactly.
so I try to keep that in mind with my kids, and and stuff as well. But I'm constantly trying to captivate the feeling and the memory of what I grew up doing.
Yeah, I
You know,
totally get it, man. I mean, I gravitated to you after meeting you on social media and just talking to you. And, it was like, wow, yeah, I got to get this guy in the podcast because I like pure, pure people. Just to
yeah,
be brutally honest, most people who know me know I'm a brutally honest person. I don't mind saying what's on my mind, but the two season hunter, you and I are very much alike. Um, I'm 65. I don't know how old you are, but you're a lot
I'm
younger than me.
45.
Yeah, you're all right. So we're 20 years apart. So you've seen some stuff that I've already seen, and I've seen stuff that you have not seen.
Yeah,
But your dad did. So your
yeah.
dad and I are probably would be the same age group.
You and my father are the same age.
Okay, cool. Is he still with us?
He is. He is
Excellent.
actually him and my mom
Excellent.
both. So
Excellent. That's great. That's great. It's funny. Nobody in my household hunted. And I learned how to hunt from my sister dating this dude. Shows up at my house for dinner. And mind you, I'm Puerto Rican. So when you're Spanish, you get the Spanish Inquisition. As far as
yeah,
you show up for dinner, guess what? You're going to be under the hot lamp. My mother on one side, my father on the other. And I'm sitting in the back just watching. My sister's looking at me and I'm elbowing her. I'm like, yeah, he's getting it now. And so I said, I finally got a word in. I said, what do you like to do for fun? He goes, I bow hunt. I'm like, what? What's that? And a week later, I'm watching a TV show at my grandmother's house, and it's Fred Bear bow hunting a polar bear. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, that's what Bob does. So then Bob comes back over for dinner. I said, Bob, I just saw this, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you want to go? I said, yeah. I look at my parents and they're like, the thumbs up. But they go, what are you going to use? I look at my dad. I said, your bow. He shot target archery. That's it. Field archery. He didn't hunt, nothing. He goes, all right, well, you better start doing push ups because it was 45 pounds. I was 13. I
yeah,
did. I did. I could pull that sucker back. I could hold it for 2 minutes. So I took the safety course. He took me hunting, and the rest is history. He's 82 now.
yeah.
And yeah, he's on my calendar to call him Christmas Day. And we'll talk about hunting season. Because I know when he went this year, he probably fell asleep. Because he's 82. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't stay up long. But it's one of those things. Oh shit, what happened? Nick, you went off camera for some reason. Technical difficulties. Let me see if I can get him up on a text. Hey man, you went off camera. Hit the link again. Wow. Every week's a surprise here. Last week I got ghosted. This week we got technical difficulties. And I think this sometimes comes because he's using his phone. So signal comes and goes and he's responding. I'm still here, brother. So I told him to hit the link again. He'll be back. In the meantime, yeah, so what are you guys doing for Christmas? Send me some instant messages. Let me know what your holiday plans are. Shit. Well, I think what we're gonna have to do here. Holy shit. Oh, uh, oh, this sucks. going to put them on. I got them on the phone. Yeah.
It's trying to put me on now. We got disconnected somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's probably because it's the phone. If you got a bad signal, that'll screw up everything.
Yeah, I think it's
Well, now you're off on the phone, so I'm going to hang up. God damn it. So if you can hear me, it says Nick's personal on the left side of my screen, but I have no video. Shit. I don't want to redo this. I really don't. Okay, so we're back.
all
Excellent.
right.
Oh, you're even up close now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I don't.
let's talk about your arrows. What kind of arrows? What's your setup like?
Uh, and man, if you can give me just a second, I think we're. Can you still hear me?
Oh yeah, I got visual everything.
Let some reason I lost my visual of you.
I wouldn't worry about it because I'm recording it, so I can see
Okay.
both of us. So just
Okay.
if you can hear
As
me,
long,
just
long,
don't
long as you
don't
can see me.
yeah, don't touch anything.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So my my arrow setup, and I think if we was talking right before we had the technical issue, one thing I like about the ILF setup is I can change the limbs out if I want to go heavier or faster or something like that. I like having the ability to do that. I don't typically change my setups. But at some point I keep telling myself I'm going to play with some different things. At some point I want to go hunt some larger stuff with a recurve, and I may need to adjust. But my arrow setups are, man. Again, I'll go into the archery shop. I've got a lot of privileges there. Cinnamon Creek Archery here in North Fort Worth. I got a lot of privileges there. Been shooting for them for a long time. Um, I think I shoot uh, Easton Axis arrows. I think I shoot the 5 millimeter carbon arrows. I've got about 175 grains up front.
Hmm.
400 spine arrow. I fletch all my own stuff. Because again, I just enjoy the process. Um,
What kind of
you know,
poundage?
I am currently shooting a 47-pound recurve bow.
Hmm.
I stay around that 45 to 47-pound range, is what I like. And, again, you probably remember this. I think the old school mindset when I was growing up was, man, if you shoot a traditional bow, it needs to be 55 pounds at a minimum. And,
Yeah, I learned the
you
hard
know,
way. Yep.
yeah. And although that sounds super cool. One thing I learned through all my competitive archery was, um, you know, I like to shoot a lot of arrows. If we say, hey, let's meet up and go shoot, man, I want to shoot a lot. I like to shoot a bunch of arrows. I don't want to shoot, a dozen or 2 dozen arrows and then be fatigued
Mm-mm.
from the bow. And I'm a pretty healthy guy, fairly strong for my size, but man, you can only pull back a 55-pound bow and stay consistent with it so many times before, yeah, you can still pull it back and shoot an arrow, but your form and your release and something starts to give, and you can see it in your shot group. And as as a bow hunter, I get a lot of shots where I need to be able to draw on that animal at a certain time, and when that animal's looking a certain way, but may not be giving me the best broadside shot. And I make my draw when the time's right, and I can hold that bow back for a little bit until that animal turns the way I need it
Sure.
to get my shot. That's kind of my thought process when I'm hunting with traditional equipment. So I can do that pretty comfortably with a mid 40s, 45 pound, 47 pound bow pretty comfortably. I don't shoot much lower than that. When that day comes that I have to, I'm sure I will adjust and figure it out.
Yeah.
But I another thing too is I see a lot of guys in the traditional world. You probably see this. I go to the shop and I'll see guys come in with traditional equipment, start shooting, and depending on their mindset and their setup, they just don't see a lot of guys with traditional equipment that shoot real well. And unless they competitively shoot or in the circles I walk in, a lot of those
Guilty,
guys shoot.
guilty as charged.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I fall into that category too. I'm not a Robin Hood of any sorts, but I have learned how to improve my shot over time and what works better. And a lot of these guys will come in with they'll go get a really nice Fred Bear special and a really neat looking bow,
mhm.
and come in and have the right heart, but they're over pulled on the bow.
Right.
They don't know a lot about tuning it, and they're of an instinctive mindset, but man, their group is all over the paper.
They're plucking.
And they're plucking, they're doing all kinds of things, they're over gripping the bow, they're overbowed on the poundage and the bows, and of course typically those guys don't understand tuning a traditional bow. Is
Sure.
It's just a worlds of difference from doing a compound bow.
I mean, the basic state start with the brace height, shoot the
Yeah,
bow until it's quiet. So that's where
yeah,
messing with the brace height comes in. Then start paper tuning on arrows. And then you know what
yeah,
spine you got to do. I mean, when I started bow hunting, when I was, oh shit, I'm in my 51st year. So I started with 65 pounds. I went up to 80 pounds and then developed issues, target
yeah,
panic, all that stupidity. And
yeah,
now I'm shooting my 3D bow is 37 pounds.
yeah.
So I'm hunting, when I hunt, it's 45 to 48 pounds
Yeah.
because
And
I
and
can
it
handle
may
it.
Yeah. And I think that's, to me, that's where I'm at. I mean, my first couple years of competitive shooting, I think I shot like an upper 30s, like 36, 38 pounds for my indoor rig. And I went 42, 45 for my 3D setup. And then, man, it was just a few years into it that it hit me. I'm like, man, I'm primarily a hunter. I do this to be a better shot for hunting. So then I just started shooting my hunting setup for my indoor and my 3D, and I
Sure.
didn't change anything when I went into the woods. And you know, I think that's a great way to hunt. A lot of it comes down to, it's not so much about how many pounds you pull, it's how heavy your arrow needs to be for your setup and how far you're shooting.
Yeah, I'm
And
always of the mindset of basically, everybody's like 9 pounds per inch. Well, no, I like putting a telephone pole through an animal. I don't care.
yeah,
I'm not in.
yeah,
I'm not into speed. I'm not a speed guy. But if
yeah,
I'm an accurate shot, I don't care. That momentum is going to drive that shaft through the animal for complete penetration and give me the optimum blood trail.
yeah, yeah. That's my mindset. I'm looking for penetration and blood, and I want to have confidence in my shot group.
Mm.
And again, as a traditional bow hunter, there's this, you can get wrapped up in these conversations, and I've been a part of them. I don't participate in them anymore. The entire instinctive versus gap shooting,
Yeah.
and
Oh my
and
God. Yeah.
that's a ordeal where I'm on either side. I'm like, man, if you quote instinctive shoot or quote gap shoot, if you're picking up a traditional bow that has no sights on it and you're using fingers, you know you're ultimately doing the same thing. Like but you want to do what's going to allow you to get a good, clean, confident, ethical shot on the animal. People say, well, I don't like to aim. I like to instinctive shoot. And I'm like, man, if you're good at that, then
Do
do
it.
that.
Do that.
If you like to use the tip of your arrow to aim at the animal, and that's what you need to do to be more successful when you finally are given an opportunity. That's what you should do. It's still traditional hunting, all the same. And me personally, I like to aim. I like to aim at what I'm shooting at. I reference my arrow in the distance, and I compute everything, and I before I let that arrow go.
Hmm.
And I want to drag what I'm shooting at out of the woods. I don't want to gut shot things. I don't want to miss. And I've done all those things as a traditional bow hunter. You're going
Yeah,
to, but
if you wound an animal, if so, I'm sorry, but if you're a traditional bow hunter and you've never wounded an animal, you're full of you know what.
I
Um,
agree. I agree.
I mean, I've done it. It's horrible. It happens. Mother Nature will take it back and absorb it into the land. So I got to ask you, are you a split finger or three under?
I'm a 300 guy.
Okay.
Grew up around split finger. My dad was even when he had started shooting compound bow back when I was a kid, you probably remember the compound bows back then were super long
Yeah.
bows. And man, he shot instinctively without sights and everything. Was a great shot.
Like
My
Chuck
dad's a
Adams. Yeah.
Yep,
Chuck.
yep. That's how my dad hunted. He phenomenal bow hunter. But he's a split finger guy.
Okay.
I started shooting 3 under when I kind of ventured back into this style of shooting, and I
Mhm.
started competitively shooting. And I it works better for me. That old school split finger stuff looks cool though, man. But I shoot better three
Yeah,
under.
I've tried it. I've tried it, and I'm using a bear takedown with limbs, and these animals are set up for a split finger. Yeah,
Yep.
they don't tiller their bows like a custom bowyer would. So, and I've been shooting split finger since 1974. Uh, I started messing
Yeah.
around with it, and I just found my bow is noisier. So I just left it alone and went back to split finger, and nothing's ever. I'm still hitting it. So why
Yeah.
change? Don't fix it if it ain't broke. That's my mindset.
I agree. I agree. And that's what I tell people when they're hunting. My dad's got a saying. He doesn't hunt much anymore. But my dad's got a saying. He just said it the other day. He's like, man, he listens to all these different ideas and ways and styles, and people advocate that their ways probably better. People should change. My dad just always says, man, he said you have to do what makes you comfortable in the woods so you enjoy your time in your stand. And if you're better doing this one thing than the other, that's what you should be doing, because you'll just enjoy your hunt better because you'll feel like you're doing what you should be doing to increase your
It's
chances.
funny you say that because I'm my 10th boss in 3 years. Okay, so I finally met her for the first time yesterday. She goes, "So what do you have? What do you think? What's your thoughts?" I said, "You do you, and I'll do me."
Yeah,
And she goes, "Boy, that was pretty quick." I was like, "I got nothing, baby. I'm done in 6 months." So
yeah,
yeah, just sign off on my papers, and we'll be good. So.
yeah, yeah. I agree, man. It's I got a style that works well for me, and through my competitive archery, I had a lot of guys that said, "Yeah, man, if you really change this up, you could probably shoot a little better." And I'm like, "Yeah, I probably could. I just don't know if I got the wherewithal to go through a change."
Yeah.
Um,
Like my son, my middle son, Todd, he's the traditional shooter in the family. And my buddy and I made a longbow for him and all that, and he's got a super Kodiak, and he's a football coach. So you know how football is in Texas. It's that big here in Florida.
oh yeah,
So it's ad nauseum. And he doesn't have time to shoot. So we went and shot 3D one day, and I watched how he shot. He was basically standing up too straight. I say, you got to do the longbow like you're fighting somebody. You lean into it and get down. I told him about Howard Hill, split vision, all that stuff, and then
yeah,
he finally started putting it together. He was starting to hit some targets. I was like, "Yeah, now you're getting it." So it just
yeah,
takes 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, and once they start, when you're going to punch somebody, you lean into it and you lead with your right and you punch him with the left. So I'm the other way.
Yeah.
I'm a southpaw, so whatever. You know, uh, it's funny teaching people. And
Yeah.
I had a compliment the other day on social media on Facebook for this young guy who follows me. I remember him at my house when he was like 12 years old, and I was showing him all my mounts and telling the stories, the deer stories. Him and a bunch of kids that came over. Their parents dropped him off, and I gave him a seminar on deer hunting 101. And he's in his 30s now. He's like three kids. I haven't seen him since he was that old. And
Yeah.
he goes, Mr. Rich, you taught me how to hunt. I was like, I did not teach you how to hunt. Your father did. He goes, no, you taught me more than what my father taught me. And that was very humbling
Yeah.
that he remembers that.
Yeah.
You know, Brandon, if you're listening, thank you. Uh, but yeah, that was kind of like shook my head for a little bit there. I was like, wow, I had to show my wife. She goes, wow, was that when all them kids came and they were all sitting around downstairs? I'm like, yeah. And you were giving them cake and sodas and shit. And then we cut them loose back to their parents after they had caffeine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's special. The people that teach you how to hunt, I listen to people talk about that. I know a lot of guys that they didn't grow up in a hunting family and they get into hunting and their
Mhm.
journey progresses and they mature as a hunter in the field and
Yeah.
they always reference the person that taught them is kind of a special thing.
He went on to
Uh,
kill 185 inch.
oof.
Typical on the farm that we hunted. And I'm still
Mm,
hunting that farm 30 years later. And
man, that's a big deer.
it's a huge deer. And he's never, yeah, I said, once you shoot an animal like that, you're ruined because
Yeah.
to shoot another one like that that's a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you probably feel the same way. We all want to shoot a bigger and better deer, but man, I've told people all the time, like, oh man, if you shot a 200-inch deer, would you hang it up on that? And I'm like, absolutely not.
Well, let me
You
show you
know,
something real. Let me show you something real quick.
I think my visual for you is,
So these are big bucks. And I shot these a long time ago. And I have not killed a decent buck since 2017. And, I don't care.
yeah.
Every
You remember, I'm having a hard time seeing my screen. I don't know if
I'll
it's,
send you pictures.
yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'll send you some
These are the
pictures.
things,
Yeah.
these are the things I enjoy.
Just some eye candy. Um,
Yeah.
so what's your favorite game animal? It's got to be the whitetail.
It is. Yeah, I'm a whitetail guy. Will probably uh I will probably die a whitetail guy. I have aspirations to go hunt some other things, hopefully even this next up couple of years, Lord willing. Um but I grew up, that's what I started out, it's all I remember, and I just enjoy whitetail.
Me too.
It's
That's my favorite. That's my favorite of all time. If I could just spend the rest of my life hunting whitetails, I have no desire to go to Africa. I have no desire to go outside of, well, yeah, I have a desire to leave Florida because the deer hunting here stinks. Um,
yeah.
I just, yeah, I wanted to hunt Texas. I'm going to Mexico. I want to hunt Illinois again. The Midwest deer. I got family in Wisconsin, so that's easy. I
Yeah.
remember the first time I hunted in Wisconsin, out of state license, 75. I'm looking at it now, $75 out of state license, a $10 archery tag, and then a $10 extra buck tag. That's cheap for out of
Those,
state.
yeah, when was that?
Probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to do that again. I miss my family, my wife's family, I should say. It's all I got left is her family. Uh, my family, think I have one nephew and a brother-in-law left, or two. Yeah, two brother-in-laws and a nephew. Everybody else is dead. So I'm the last of the Mohicans. Uh, that being said, what's your favorite method of hunting? Ground or
Uh,
from death from above?
uh, You talking about as far as whether I'm on the ground or in a
Yeah,
tree?
what do you like?
Man, I like being in a tree. There's a big craze going around that, everybody's looking for the next hardest thing supposedly to do and killing them. I have killed them from the ground. I was not out to do it to say I killed one from the ground, just in that particular area. The
Right.
best place for me to get was on the ground. I like getting in a tree. I don't know what it is. I like crawling up in a tree and looking around. You know, uh, you know, Being on the ground is cool. I can't see as much oftentimes, so that's the only reason why I don't prefer it. But it's neat when you kill one from the ground to post and say, "Oh, kill this one from the ground." It's just everybody kind of makes a big deal about that. I saddle hunted for many years.
Okay.
Uh, this year, I went back to trying a hang on in my mobile setup. So I'm a mobile guy. I've got this small Superfly set up, and it's fun to use. Different. I've been on a saddle for years, so I'm used to the tree kind of being in front of me. Now I feel like I'm sticking out like a sore thumb, but man, I've killed a couple of decent deer this year that way, and man, I mean they were right under me when I shot them. I feel like I'm like super exposed, but it's been a fun, different way to try to do things mobily on public land. Uh, but yeah, I'm a tree guy.
So, have you seen Cody Diaquisto from Lone Wolf's videos on YouTube?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Oh
watch a
yeah.
lot of his stuff.
He's
Yeah,
crazy, man. I
he
love,
is.
he has no filter. Uh, I don't either, but tonight I do, out of
Yeah.
respect for Christianity.
Thank
Um,
you, sir.
and it is what it is. We talked about that
Most of my
earlier.
friends don't, so feel free to be
No,
you.
no,
So
we're not doing that. It's just part of my repertoire. But yeah, he's turned me on to a lot of stuff. He's really on a kick lately about debunking a lot of stuff. We're talking like moon phases, stuff like
yeah,
that. And I'm like, wow, he's really saying this, and he's coming out in public saying it. So I'm really curious to see what kind of backlash he's getting.
I love it actually. I watch a lot of those videos, and Um, I like these types of topics because, I think as deer hunters over years, we get sucked into these constants, and I don't think all of them are wrong. But I think some of them can be. I mean, man, some of the stuff he's talked about in recent podcasts with, uh, like scent control and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, there's no mistaking these deer live and die by their nose.
Yeah, they do.
They can see, they can hear, but the number one thing we get busted on is our
Scent.
scent.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's who knows how many deer when we think we've done everything right busted us that we never even knew was there. And there's the saying that there's always a deer downwind of you when you're in the
Mhm.
woods, and
Oh yeah.
so I for years I did a crazy scent control regiment out of my passion for loving bow hunting and thinking everything I did to give me a better edge, and I
Oh
it
yeah.
just the energy of it. I'm not against it. I do believe there's some advantages to doing it if you have the wherewithal to wash your clothes a certain way, put all your underwear in
Right.
Ziploc bags, and use the special soaps and the special scent bags and all of that. Man, if you enjoy that, like my dad said, and it's part of what you enjoy about what you
Right.
do,
Right.
I recommend stick with it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it.
Right.
For me, it just came down to I've got so much energy to spend that it was just easier for me to not allow that to consume my pregame thoughts anymore. And I wash my clothes in just water. I dry them without a fabric softener.
Right.
I shower in just plain water. I don't use any special soaps. I use unscented deodorant, and that's about it, man. I mean, for me, and it's not.
And
It
diet.
really,
I don't eat onions, garlic, things, anything that stinks. I don't want it
yeah.
coming out of my armpits.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I do the common sense stuff, like I you can go to the gym. I've trained jujitsu for many years. If somebody has got body odor and you're standing next to them and I can smell it, I know for
Oh,
sure that would alert a stronger sense presence in the woods. So
right,
I do the common sense stuff. I wash my hands off. I don't eat pizza, then grab my bow and my
right,
bags and
right.
stuff. I do common sense things, but man, when it comes to like my shoes that I wear, I just wear the boots I'm wearing right now or what I was wearing a couple weeks ago when I shot
Hmm.
that last buck.
Yeah.
And I've just noticed that regardless of whatever you buy or whatever you do, if that deer that you're trying to hunt, especially traditionally, if that deer gets downwind of you and they're gonna smell you. I
So
mean,
last week I'm up north, 5 degrees. Okay. I mean, it's cold and I'm wearing $1,500 worth of Sitka gear. Okay.
yeah,
Watching my diet, the whole 9 yards, wind's in my face. The deer come up to my left. They come and they're standing there 20 yards away, waiting to cross
yeah,
the field. But as deer do, they enter the field and they stop. Well, it's so freaking cold out. I can't feel the safety on my gun. I can't
yeah,
get the safety. I'm like, what the hell? I've got crappy gloves on, of course, but I had the rest of the suit was nice. And by the time I got the safety off, I went to pull the gun up and they're looking at me. I'm like,
yeah,
busted. They take
yep,
off. So the next
yep,
day I go back to the same stand, and the wind is in the same direction. Oh, they're just going to come out the same spot. No, they came out 15 yards below me to my right. So the wind was blowing right to them. They didn't see me, but they smelled me
yeah,
and
yeah,
gone. So
yep,
obviously no deer for Rich, but
yeah.
it was fun nonetheless. The cat and mouse game.
And that's the game that we enjoy. I mean,
Yeah,
otherwise, man, if their senses were not our hurdle, it wouldn't make these things as special. I mean, I think that scent control is probably one of the bigger things to keep in mind, but I primarily try to use the wind.
yeah.
It's not that I don't believe all of those other products don't work. I actually think they do help a little bit microscopically, some of them a lot. But it got tiring for me to be, oh man, I'm out of detergent. I've got to
Scent
run to the
lock,
cat.
right? Scent lock,
I'm
or
yeah, I'm out of wipes. I'm out of uh,
yeah, yeah,
shampoo. It just was too much, and I realized that as a traditional bow hunter, because of the way I think when I go into the wood, I have to think. Um, that's my greatest asset is just putting a lot of thought in my setup and where I think scouting, where are they coming from? The wind's going to be here. I'll be in that tree. If it's coming the other way, I get in that one.
right.
Where do I walk in at? That was another one that took me a little while to get down was not necessarily entry and being stealthy. It was entry and laying scent down to my tree
Hmm.
versus where the deer were coming from.
Sure.
And that was, and to be honest, if there was a product that I could buy that would just make me invisible, I don't know that I'd have as much fun utilizing that. That's me personally. I like again, we're going back to old school camos and stuff. How cool was it back in the day when you see these pictures of these guys with these giants wearing a flannel shirt
Yeah.
and they just
Flannel is basically camo.
yeah, I mean they just get out there and grind and just stay on it and get it done and that's kind of where my heart is on it. I see some of these guys with all these and again, I'm not against any of it. I just don't have the capacity to stay on top of the inventory.
Sure.
But the suits, the closets, the special bags, the ozonics, the all
Uh,
these things that I'm sure help. I just don't have the capacity to
yeah.
stay on top of the
I'm
gear and the
selling
inventory.
off all my stuff. And I was like, something, my wife goes, she was, I was pulling some stuff out and she's like, oh, I remember that camo outfit I said, yeah, well, it didn't fit 20 years ago. It fits now since I've lost 60 pounds. She goes, you're going to wear that again? I wore it this year. And
Yeah,
it failed. It was horrible. It did not keep me warm. I said, this is Walmart. This is Kmart product. It's junk. So
yeah,
Merino wool
yeah.
is my friend.
Yeah, oh yeah. And man, I didn't start getting into uh you mentioned Sitka earlier. My son wears a lot of Sitka. I got a lot of First Light gear.
First
And
light's good.
one thing I tell people all the time is, I didn't start getting nicer gear till probably about 5 years ago. Other
Hmm.
than that, I've killed a lot of stuff wearing Walmart stuff. I had one pair of Sitka pants I had for years that one of my buddies that he got a little bit heavy and he gave them to me and I wore them for years. And but the better gear is more comfort, in my opinion. I don't necessarily care for a lot of the new camo patterns. It's more comfort, durability, function. I like where the pockets are.
Yeah.
Other than that, and like you said, comfort.
Yeah,
The wool.
durability, function, and comfort. That's it for
Yeah,
me. I don't care if
yeah,
it's made in China, but whatever. It works.
yep,
That's all that matters.
yep.
I'm
I
not
agree.
paying $500 for a pair of pants. Just don't do that.
Oh man, yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I bought all my Sitka gear that I bought it on like Marketplace and
Oh
off Amazon. These were seconds. There was like maybe a button was in the wrong spot. These were factory seconds, so I was able to get them for half the price that they would go for normally retail.
yeah.
And I learned that trick from my wife. She's the shopaholic here. So
Have you noticed the time of year to look for that too is right after hunting season? You can go on
exactly.
Marketplace and get some really good deals on some good
Yep.
gear.
Yep.
And yeah, I got a buddy, well, actually my jujitsu coach, he's bought a lot of his gear for the first go round this year, but man, he kind of turned me on to that. He was sending me
Hmm.
pictures of Marketplace. He's like, "Hey, is this good?" And I'm like, "Man, if that's available, you need to buy that right now. Like that's a heck of a deal for that
Yeah.
that piece of gear."
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize that was a thing until this last year. He showed it to me, and I actually bought some bibs and another warm jacket,
Yeah.
First Light gear off of Marketplace, and I don't even utilize it, but it was a good deal, and I got so many people around me that hunt. I just went and picked it up from the guy,
So I don't know if you
and
remember Walmart years ago sold this gray thermal underwear. It was just gray, just
yeah,
heather gray, but it was wool.
yeah,
And that stuff was great back
yeah,
when we had global warming and it was 70 degrees in December. But this
yeah,
past week in 5-degree weather, I said, "Oh my God." So I broke out the merino wool. Oh man, life changer, game changer.
yes,
I was
yes.
able to sit there for hours and I was toasty warm. The only thing that got cold were my hands, and I changed gloves after the deer encounter where I couldn't feel my safety, and I put on the good ones. I was like, "Pfft, I can sit out here for days. As
Yes.
long as
Yeah.
your
Oh, yeah.
hands, and feet are well insulated, you're good."
Yeah. If I've gotten a little bit older, my feet start bothering me more than anything else on my body, and my hands, of course.
Yeah.
But hands have been a problem ever since I was a kid. They just get cold, and especially holding a bow. I shoot fingers, so I can't wear a thick glove on my string hand. But my feet, man, the feet are the hard
Mhm.
thing,
Mhm.
and I can withstand a lot in my legs and my torso, but man, my feet, man, those things as I've gotten older. I remember my dad talking about that, and it just wasn't that big of a deal, but I understand it a little more now.
Well, here's a little tip you might want to look into. You can get from Cabela's, believe it or not, hiking socks that are made of silk. So
Silk.
you put them on first, and what they do is they wick the moisture off your feet and transfer it outward. And then I bought into the Kenetrex socks. You can find them on Amazon too, by the way, and it's like $10 cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, night and day, changed my life. My feet are nice and toasty.
Man, I'm
And
gonna have to try that.
yeah, check it out. I use it too. I usually wear, even if it's cold, I'm wearing like a 200-gram muck boot with that
Yeah.
setup. But I wear the muck boot a little bigger than I normally would wear because you don't want them too tight because the sweat, you need heat
Yeah.
build up around your foot.
Yeah.
And I was toasty, toasty, toasty in 5 degrees. So,
Yeah. Man, that's awesome, especially in that kind of a weather.
any hunts for you on a bucket list for you in the future?
Yeah, man, I got a couple of them. I mean, there's some dream animals I'd like to shoot that I just don't think I'll see in my lifetime. Things like everybody wants to kill things like a mountain lion and Rocky Mountain ram,
Right.
but those are like once in a lifetime draw hunts
Have
that
you seen the prices of those and you got to draw
oh
for them?
yeah, it's some of this stuff has become a wealthy man's game, and I don't make a bad living, but I don't make the kind of money that I'm going to be able to buy myself into
No,
those types of hunts.
same here.
Um, but I, elk, like a bucket list hunt would be to
Hmm.
kill a good bull elk with my traditional equipment. I got a buddy that lives up in Oregon. I was in the Marine Corps with, and he's a guide, a selective guide. He doesn't just take anybody, but
Hmm.
he's been trying to get me to come up for a few years and kill a black bear with my bow. I
Mm,
just have not gone up and done it, but that's something I'd really like to do. And those are within my realm of things that I can afford
sure.
and go do. I'm not really an Africa guy. I think all that stuff is neat. It's really cool. I like seeing the pictures, my buddies that go do it. My issue with going to Africa is, I if I had the funds, I would go over there. I know nothing about those animals. I would be told to sit somewhere and I would shoot it when it showed up, and I probably would never go back.
Right.
And that's the thing with hunting certain things that I tell people all the time. I'm like, man, I don't really have an interest to go to these foreign places because I won't spend enough time there to learn the animal to do it myself.
Right.
And that's not what I enjoy about hunting. Again, that's just my personal preference. I think it's really cool when people go do it. I love seeing it, but that's why I'm a big whitetail guy.
Yeah.
They're in my backyard, and I can be a whitetail deer hunter. I can't be a zebra hunter or a lion hunter.
Right.
Even if I killed one, it doesn't make me a lion hunter. I
Right.
will never get to spend enough time there to do it.
Yeah. God, I'm 65. I don't know how much time I got left, but I like just hunting whitetails, man. Just
Me too, man. Me
whatever. I
too.
mean, just they taste so good. I just like butchering them and eating them and processing, and
Yep.
it's just a thing for me. It's just like I don't have a lot of thoughts or wants anymore as I've gotten older. Um, I'm just happy every day when I wake up and I put my feet on the floor, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Me too. Whitetail deer and pigs, man. Those are my primary thing to hunt. So,
Yep.
but I'm surrounded by them, so I can hunt them almost daily. I'm self-employed. So I'm very fortunate this time of year. I get to spend a lot of time in the woods, so I can learn the animal and do it
Mhm.
myself.
Sure. So, you have any bow hunting heroes besides your dad?
Man, I got guys that I kind of admire. I tend to gravitate toward their information. We was talking about the Cody DeQuisto a little while ago. I'm a big fan of his debunking things.
Mhm.
Again, I don't agree with everything he says, but
Same here.
I
I
do agree
listen.
with a lot of it.
Hmm.
And I like his thought process. Like, hey, why do we do this as deer hunters? Who made this a constant kind of a thing? And um, you know, I got guys like him. I like to gravitate toward his information. He's a wild looking character, man, for a deer hunter. He doesn't
Did
look
you
like
know he
your.
was a bodybuilder?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know quite
The
a bit
guy's
about the
the guy's
guy.
built like a brick, you know what, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a unique character with all of that, and I like that. He doesn't look like your typical whitetail deer hunter. In fact, man, I think on one of his podcasts, he was talking about, man, he puts essential oils and stuff in his hair for his dreadlocks, and just goes out in the woods and just puts these slammers on the ground with
Yeah,
a
I know
stick
he's
bow.
killing monsters, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And I know his father personally.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember I met his father like 30 something years ago. And it's like, and I'm saying, man, and I'm looking at him like, wow, I could imagine your dad probably busts your chops all the time, but you're killing bigger bucks than almost as big a bucks as he's killed. His dad's killed a lot of hammers.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're kind of the pioneers of the mobile hunting, them
Yeah.
and John Eberhart, as far as guys that are known. And but I got guys like that I'll gravitate toward. I like to listen to what they got to say.
Hmm.
They got some things, they got quite a bit that I can pick from and try to apply. And as far as having heroes, man, to be honest, my bow hunting, what I call a bow hunting hero, going to be really hard to top my dad, man.
Yeah.
We were never access to prime property. Um, my dad had limited time to get out in the field, and he just really got it done with limited time.
Sweet.
And he's got some theories that I do subscribe to. I've kind of grown on some of them as time's gone. He grew on a lot he got from his dad. But man, he just my dad was just a killer, man. He was just a killer. And he hunted, we didn't have expensive properties to hunt.
Mhm.
A lot of times nowadays I'm surrounded by guys that they're fortunate to get to hunt prime pieces of land.
Mhm.
My uncle and cousins get to hunt up in the northern part of Oklahoma, and they're just surrounded by giant deer. And that does make a difference. My dad's the kind of guy that I feel like had he been access to things like that, he would have killed bigger and better like everybody else.
And
But
I'm sure he's satisfied with his life.
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He even just recently, this last couple years, man, he hung his bow up and he accomplished all of what he felt like was his hunting goals. And he wants to be around deer camp, but he just doesn't have the desire to get in a tree and put an arrow in anything anymore. And he feels like he allowed it to consume too much of him. I don't agree, but man, he feels that way because he's a certain age now. And
Yeah.
he got rid of he when they sold their house, he sold all the guy wanted to buy all of his deer heads and stuff, and
Oh.
he just kept a few deer heads that were more his most special memories
Hmm.
with family. And he sold his deer heads and all these neat things he killed over the years. and
Yeah.
and but he was a killer, man. My dad was a killer.
Yeah.
Probably in my hunting, as I try to measure up who I am as a bow hunter, I'm constantly kind of using it in where he's concerned. Now, I've got some of these guys I think are really cool bow hunters. I like the DeQuisto guys,
Right.
Cody in particular. I like his style of hunting. I
How about
like his
Jeff? How about Jeff Phillips?
Jeff Phillips. I hate to say I'm not super familiar.
Yeah. Google,
Uh,
check him out on YouTube tomorrow.
I will. I
Yeah.
will for sure.
You'll like him. He's a used car salesman, and when he does a video, dude, it's like he's selling you a car. It's awesome.
I like it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. He's from the
John
South.
Eberhardt's a cool one.
Yep.
I like his style of hunting. I don't know a lot about him as a person. Um, again, the saying is he hunts mostly public and he doesn't pay to hunt anywhere. And I think
Mhm.
that's very unique because, man, a lot of these guys nowadays, what they kill, especially here in Texas, man, like it comes down to access, really. I mean, a lot of these guys, it's just what are you access to? And I'm got private land, but that's why I think it's kind of cool to kill something off of public land that's worth talking about.
Sure.
Not a lot of
Absolutely.
people want to hunt it, but you know, um, I got a buddy of mine's pretty good bow hunter, um, and he runs the archery shop here in Fort Worth. And I kind of like to pick from him, man. He's the kind of guy that just toward the end of the season, but man, you seen anything? It's like, nah, man, I just haven't been seeing much. He doesn't say a lot. He doesn't post a lot of his pictures of what he kills. And man, he'll get toward the end of the season and he'll almost think, yeah, I probably ain't going to get one this year, man. I just hadn't seen. And the next thing I know, he'll text me a picture and he'll put a hammer on the ground.
Yeah.
And just every year, he just ends up putting a good deer on the ground with his bow.
You got to spend
And
time in the woods, man.
that's him. And he just, I like to listen to what he's got to say quite a bit. And he's a good bow hunter of mine, a reference for me. But yeah, man. Other than that, it's getting kind of hard to find what I would call a bow hunting hero nowadays.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I got bow hunting heroes like the Wenzel brothers and the old school guys. Uh,
yeah,
I don't have them a lot of guys that are modern bow hunters that I admire, other than maybe Don Higgins, who was on the podcast, and that's about it because he knows this deer and he knows deer biology and what they feed on and all. It's got scientific stuff to back him up. So,
Yeah, that's
uh,
cool.
we're going to wind it down here. I'm getting hungry. So, what's in store for you for 2026 and beyond,
Man, uh,
hunting wise?
I don't know if you saw the post I put up a couple weeks ago. I shot that buck with my recurve,
Hmm.
hunting public land over here, and I killed that deer. And he's not the biggest one I've killed, but he's a good one. He's a little too hard to pass on. He's about a 3.5-year-old buck. I shot. I did a hang and a hunt in an area I've been kind of looking at. I hadn't been in there a lot, but I felt like there was deer in there. And wind was right. I went in there one evening and actually jumped a couple of deer going in. And I kind of tried to make sense of the areas. I finally went in there and I hung in a tree, and that deer walked right under me on the trail I thought he'd be on,
Mm.
and shot him. And fun buck, fun hunt, good deer. He's I'll probably go ahead and put him in the taxidermist. I'll probably do a shoulder mount instead of a euro on him. But we, my grandpa's hat there that's all war battered and about to fall apart. Um, that was kind of my last buck to kill in that hat. I kind of made a bigger deal about the hat than I did the buck. And, when I retired that hat, I told my wife, I said, man, I've been traditional bow hunting pretty hard for 13 years now. And I said, I'm ready to turn a new leaf in my hunting. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means go finally try to kill a bear or an elk, or it may be even just develop a new standard of what I choose to harvest in the field. I've been fortunate to kill a lot of things with a stick and a string, man.
Hmm.
But now maybe try to hold out for some things. I've never shot anything over 150 inches because I've never been access to it.
Right, of course.
And, I would like to try to go see what that's like,
Hmm.
So as far as hunting goes, other than try to spend as much time in the woods as possible, probably going to try to go chase some elk around in the next couple years.
Okay.
I'd like to go kill that bear up in Oregon. My buddy's been poking me on,
You got to
and
do it.
then,
You got to do it before you get too
yeah,
old.
yeah, I agree, man. And I've already feel like I've put it off too long. So,
Take one of your kids. Take the kids with you. I mean, they might want to try it too.
yeah, yeah, and man, I'd be honest, I'd be just as happy to see them do it than
Sure.
myself, But
Yeah.
other than that, man, I just hope I'm fortunate enough to get to spend as much time in the woods as I got to spend even this year. I've got to almost live out there this year, so
That's cool. That's cool. So, last question. If you're going to transport yourself back in time, where would it be and why? When and where and why?
man, I think if I could transport myself back in time, I think I'd probably go back to my childhood, and probably just because my greatest passion outside of my relationship with Christ and my family and then work would be deer hunting.
Hmm.
And some of my greatest memories with my family, again, barring the memory of me being with my kids right now, but we're talking about time travel.
Sure.
Um, I would probably go back to those days, getting to be around camp, um, my grandfather and my dad, the guys that I grew up hunting around. Man, we didn't hunt. We didn't have big deer. Man, I hunted on a 220-acre property that had 11 rifle hunters on it, and we didn't kill big deer. If you saw a buck, you shot a buck. But those were some of my funnest memories as a kid. I didn't even care about killing a deer. I just wanted to be in deer camp
Yeah.
around all of it. And I would probably go back to experience that one more time. You know, Outside of that, I can't think of too much more I'd want to go back and
Yep.
visit.
I
You
miss deer
know,
camp when my younger days. And I told my buddy this year, I said, dude, let's just go back to hunting old school. Let's go get the hotel in the rural area
Yeah.
that's $40 a night with roaches and just
Yeah.
hunt the mountains, man. I miss that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we can do that next year. But good stuff, man. So, dude, I want to thank you so much for coming on, Nick. I mean, this really was fun. I told you it would be. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah,
I
man.
hope you had fun.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, these are the things that hunting is supposed to be all about. It's the stories and the getting to know each other and
Yeah,
sharing ideas and stuff. I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
excellent. So I want to wish you and your family a wonderful Merry Christmas and a great New Year. May it bring prosperity and good fortune. I want to thank all our sponsors and the listeners. Again, subscribe and like, guys. That helps me a lot. Uh, but at any rate, that's it. I'm going to sign off here on behalf of the Drop Time Traditions podcast. Guys, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Rich Lopez, or Drop Time Traditions / Rich Lopez, and then Drop Time Traditions, period. Or my website, droptimetraditions.com. I'm going to put in the link below with the sponsors. I'm also going to put the Instagram thing for you and Facebook, and that way people can reach out to you. But
I
again,
appreciate it,
this
Rich.
is not going to publish until next week. So tonight, you guys get to listen to my rant last week because I had a no show. But hey, the show must go on, as they say. So, all right, brother.
I
You have a good
appreciate it,
evening.
Rich, and good luck to you guys for the rest of your season. And Merry Christmas to you and your family. And man, we'll stay in touch. If you put
Abs-
anything on the ground, send a pic, man.
all right, bro. I'll send you some pictures of the game here. So, take care.
Thanks,
All right.
man. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
evening.
You too.
Bye.